Coming up this week on What's the Finish, Chris goes to the water cooler to talk about inconsiderate coworkers. The UFC announces serious changes to the drug testing policies. The Toronto Maple Leafs have collapsed yet again, but why this time it's different. Spiderman is about to join his long-lost friends. Jon Stewart is retiring. We talk about what it takes to produce a wrestling television show, look back at Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn from the NXT title match from Takeover, and Seth Rollins had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad Monday.
And let me tell you something, Daddy. The rock star's got his party pants on, and Langell, you ain't invited.
Thank baby Jesus.
One is a former professional wrestling champion with affinity for being awesome. The other, a former video gaming champion with an interest in gaming, sports, and the occasional chicken wing. Together, they are constantly asking, WTF? This is What's the Finish with your hosts, the rockstar Chris Cole and Brian Langell.
Welcome to the 5th episode of What's the Finish. My name is Brian Langell, and joining me yet again this
rockstar Chris Cole is here, Daddy.
The rockstar Chris Cole. Chris, how awesome are you this week?
I am unbelievably awesome. I am so tremendously awesome that I even brought 2 more friends with me this week. I have the producer from Innovative Hybrid Wrestling, Mr. Dave Cawley.
Hello.
Hey, Dave.
He's a man of many words. And
I see that.
Our head of matchmaking, head writer for Innovative Hybrid Wrestling, my former manager, Mr. Kevin Tyler.
How you doing,
And he's got a great shirt on.
Yeah.
He does have a great shirt on.
This is all I managed you for what, 3-4 years? This is all I ever get paid.
It's all you deserve.
There you go. So I don't know how you guys made out with Snowmageddon, but we just finally got plowed out today. How are things in Moncton when it comes to the snow?
Langell, it was Doom's snow day. It was ridiculous. The Rockstar was outside shoveling for 4 hours, and you still can't get up my front step.
Wow. Yeah, we got plowed out this morning at 7:15, and I was so interested in that I got up and shot slow motion video of it to put it on Facebook. Because I'm like, okay, I'm going to share this with everybody. I'll tell you something. Blowing snow out at 240 frames a second sounds like it's cool until you have to sit through 10 minutes of it. Then it's not so cool.
That's very true.
Cool.
It sounds like editing Chris Cole commentary.
We'll get to that. Langell.
Yes, sir.
Langell.
Yeah. Yes, Chris. Actually, wait. I noticed last week that Shayna, when you did that, said, yes, Rockstar. So am I supposed to say, yes, sir, or yes, Rockstar?
Langell.
Yes, Chris. Rockstar. Just talk, sir.
Let me tell you something. The Rockstar Chris Cole was listening some more of your 3-player co-op podcast that comes up every Wednesday, and I noticed something.
What's that, sir?
First thing I noticed was that you were talking about the East Hants Gaming Trading Expo.
Yes.
And I don't remember if Kevin was there or not. I'm pretty sure Dave was. But we actually, with another promotion running out of Nova Scotia, we were in East Hants at a wrestling show. So I've wrestled in East Hants.
Really?
I have.
That is the
Dave's
hometown.
Dave, you drove.
Probably.
Yeah. We had Nick Teeth and Ryan Storm and Chris Cole
for Joe Blow
in the van. Yeah, for Joe Blow. He was called that because he liked cocaine.
Is that the one?
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that the
Now, another thing I noticed, and it's something I noticed, Nova Scotians,
Nova Scotians.
yeah, they tend to pronounce things funny.
Yeah, okay. Now, before you go any further, hold on. Before you go any further, I am from Nova Scotia.
Yes, that's why I'm saying
you
this.
know that.
Yes.
All right.
It
Just
was
making
you
sure we're
saying
on the
something
same
that made me
page.
notice this.
Oh, I said it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
what
said
did-
it on
what
the
did I
podcast.
say?
You said the word couch.
Holy fuck. Yeah. This
And
is
he
a
knows,
problem.
he knows.
I've been mocked about this since episode 1 of 3-player co-op. Susan and Dave went off on me on this, and it's never stopped.
I just finished listening to it, and I've pointed it out to Nova Scotians. They're like, I don't say that, me. And I'm like, no, you do. You say coach. I'm going to go sit on the coach. And you on your podcast, on 3-Player Co-op, that's his other podcast about video gaming. Just so you know, it's on every Wednesday except for this one, you bastard. So you're on there, and it's episode 70 something. I think I'm at 71 or something like that. And you say coach, and then you go couch. And I just thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I am giving you awesome props.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. What I have a question for is you're going backwards.
Yeah.
Because we're in like episode 81 and now you're going backwards.
Yes.
So you're going all the way back to 1.
Yeah.
So with your interest in gaming as high as it is, now you're going backwards. So by the time you get to episode 1, we're still going to be talking about the Xbox 360. And the Xbox One will have been out for almost 2 years at that point.
Yeah, but see, by the time I get back to episode 1, I'll be almost up to date with my video gaming that I have now.
Yes.
See?
You're closing the gap.
Yes, this is my plan here.
Have you moved past the Super Nintendo yet?
I have a Wii.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a Wii. And I was talking to you. We were going to talk about this really quickly on the show. I did some gaming this week.
Yes.
I played.
The floor is yours, sir. Take it away.
I played a 3-game-old or 2-game-old Batman game, the second Arkham game, whatever that's called. Arkham Origins 2. Or something.
Arkham, yeah. There's Arkham Asylum, then Arkham Origins. Yeah.
Yeah. On my Mac.
Yeah.
So I've been playing that, and I'm not very good at it. And I was also playing on my Wii. Really bad sequel to a really good game. I was playing Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 2.
I think I have that for 360.
It is
I've
really
never
bad.
played it. I picked it up for my my 10-year-old. Never played it.
Oh.
Kevin looks really awkward talking about video games.
I don't know why.
I've actually been playing some video games this past week too.
What have you played, Dave?
Well, normally my my video game landscape consists of NHL hockey and the occasional wrestling game, but I branched out and I've been playing the new Grand Theft Auto game, to which I'm totally mortified.
Langell hates that game.
Totally mortified of such a video game exists, but
It's Langell's least favorite game.
I do enjoy ripping off cars and speeding around town and causing commotion. That's fun.
You love beating up hookers, Dave. We all.
I've never got that far
The
yet.
new Grand Theft Auto is basically all they talk about on 3-Player Co-op.
Yeah, we're moving on past that though because Borderlands is coming out in like 3 weeks, and then that'll be it.
All right.
Spoiler alert if you listen to 3-Player Co-op. Chris,
Langell.
Yes, Rockstar.
Langell, I have a beef.
That does not surprise me, sir. What's the problem this week?
I have an issue with office douchebags.
Office douchebaggery. Okay.
Office douchebaggery indeed. Now let me tell you something, Brian Langell. The Rockstar Chris Cole works in an office that is, normal gig, right?
Yes.
The Rockstar Chris Cole works in an office, and there's a room in the office that's sometimes used for other training. These people come in from other training. They start rooting through our stuff.
I hate that.
And taking our office supplies. And it just... And let me tell you something else. We just got a water cooler in our office.
Yes, I mentioned it in the opening.
We pay for our water. These people come in, they drank our entire jug of water, like our entire 18 and a half liters of water.
How many
That is
people?
not
The
cool.
pricks.
How many,
After being told that we pay for that and they can get water from the tap.
how many people?
Probably about 7.
Lock the
In one
bathroom
day?
door.
Oh, yeah, they're just being pricks. So let me tell you something, Brian Langell, Daddy. The Rockstar Chris Cole is unimpressed by office douchebaggery. All right?
Well, yeah.
Speaking of which, that's pretty much all I have to say about it because they're assholes. I'll let you...
And they might listen to the show at some point.
Oh, probably not because they're assholes.
Okay, gotcha.
Only cool people listen to this show. So...
Indeed.
Now, on a side note, and I actually kind of want you to get your bleeper out, if you don't mind.
Let me just load that up here. Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with someone.
Okay.
Someone very specific. Mother Nature, you stupid bitch! You can go f*** yourself again. F*** yourself up your shoes. I don't even know what that means, you
Oh, okay. That's going to take us some post editing to get that cleared up.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
I'm
needless
mad
to
at her
say-
again.
See, I'm not so mad with Mother Nature. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you something.
Don't do
Chris.
that.
I love Mother Nature. Here's why. I haven't been to work since last Friday.
You remember? I don't know if you remember what I said to Shane. I actually made you stop talking, and I said it to Shane last week.
Yeah.
You can also
yeah.
do. You can also do that.
But see, first off, now people are gonna have to go back and listen to last week's show to find out what the subliminal message is there.
Marketing.
Brilliant.
Marketing.
That is brilliant. And second of all, yeah, I spent 8 years working in call centers where there were times like this where I'd be snowed in and stuck there for 3 days. So I will gladly take 3 days where I don't have to get out of work after working in call centers.
Well, funny
But
story.
yeah.
Funny story. You know how far I drive every day for work.
Yes, I do.
Well, not so much funny as it is sucky. I still have to go to work in those snowstorms as soon as I dig myself out
Why?
because, bleh.
Just the way it is.
Yeah, that's right. Langell,
Yes, Chris.
what do you think of office douchebags?
I think
I don't. I actually like the people I work with, so I don't really run into it too much. However, as part of my job, I have to solve other people's office issues because I work in IT, and people will turn on a projector and then hook up everything to it that's not supposed to be there, and then not reconnect what used to be there.
I plugged my pen into the projector. Why isn't it working?
Yeah. No, I get people who bring in a Mac and dismantle everything to plug in the into the projector, and they don't bother to put it back for the PC users, and the PC users come in and nothing works at all, and they have a shit hemorrhage.
Well, that's the first
know how it
problem.
is.
Have PC users.
Well, yes, I totally agree, sir. I totally agree. But yeah, so I've run into it. I mean, I haven't run into the whole "you drank my water" problem.
Sons of bitches.
I understand that would be infuriating.
Okay, these same people, one of them came out, went into our kitchenette where our private our private dishes are that I like my coffee cup that I bring from home and leave in my office.
Yes.
One of them comes in, looks through all our cupboards, then comes and asks for a coffee cup.
Wow.
Another one came into my office, actually walked into my office and took my whiteboard eraser, Langell. They took it!
Did they keep it?
I took it back.
Well, then what's the problem, right? You showed them who's boss.
Yeah, that's right, Daddy.
That's right. So, Chris, I'm looking at the show docket tonight and
All right.
realize that we're going to be an hour and a half again this week, like we were last week.
Yeah, way to
so
go.
I'm going to try to move on and get into some of the topics here this week.
All right, let's talk about Ufka.
Let's talk about Ufka. Ufka had a busy day today, which I got to watch
They
the
all wear
press
mama
conference
gloves.
because again I wasn't working. Did you say mama gloves?
Maybe.
That's awesome. Anyway, yes, the
Always works.
UFC announced today that they have finally had enough with drug problems. You know, between John Jones and his lines of coke, and Anderson Silva failing a drug test, and Nick Diaz being on pot 24/7, they've decided that they want to do something about it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you are tested and you come in hot on a drug test, you're suspended for 2 to 4 years.
Whoa.
2 to 4 years.
Whoa. Wow.
As opposed to 9 months. Now, here's the logic behind it. Let's say you're an UFCA or UFC, as the case may be, and you fail a drug test. Not that you ever would, but let's say you failed the drug test, and you're suspended for 9 months. Well, UFC fighters only fight roughly every 6 months, so you're only going to miss a fight, right?
Right.
So what's the big deal? So now to make that more of a risk versus reward thing, first time you're busted, it's 2 years. Second time you're busted, it's 4 years. So your career is effectively over.
So why do all these
if you get
drug
caught.
tests, they always come out, it's after the fights they announce them?
Yeah, well, they talked about that today. They said they got accused of knowing about Anderson Silva's steroid positive test before the fight and not announcing it till after the fight. And the UFC threw up their hands and said, hey, it wasn't us. It's the Las Vegas State Athletic Commission that didn't release it till after. We didn't know, which I call total horseshit on, because you have a fight that Anderson Silva's making his comeback on that's going to be worth millions of dollars on pay-per-view. Are you going to turn around and say, "Oh, fight's not going to happen"?
Yeah. What if the Nevada State Athletic Commission released it before? What if it came out as a fight now not happening at the last minute, the 0 hour? You got to replace your big main event.
Yeah, and probably cancel the pay-per-view because there's no way you're going to replace that fight, right?
It's totally like a Shaggy moment. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
And you know they caught him red-handed with a needle in his butt. It wasn't me.
That's why we let you sing on this show.
That's right.
Rockstar,
Daddy-o.
They also announced that if champions are busted, they're immediately stripped of the title.
Whoa!
Yeah. Well, it makes sense, right? I mean, you can't
You're
have a
out for 2
champion
to 4
on the
years,
shelf
you
for
can't
2 to
fight.
4 years, right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So now, if you're busted, you lose the title.
This includes marijuana as well.
I don't know if it includes marijuana or not. I think they're more pushing towards performance-enhancing drugs.
Okay.
So Nick Diaz will be safe because A, he'll never be a champion, and B, what'll happen.
Well,
but,
and to me, marijuana is just going to make them tired, make them want to finish the match quicker, so they can go get a snack. So they're just more likely to lay down.
You deserve a special commendation for fighting high.
but the question is, what do you do with John Jones, right? I mean, if this would have come into effect now, John Jones and cocaine, what do you do?
Stupid Martian
So
Manhunter.
I mean, it's not it's Martian Manhunter. It's not a performance drug, but I mean, doing rails of coke in the back probably isn't such a good idea before a show, right? Not that he did, but The other big thing is
he did it off a hooker's butt.
Yeah, exactly. The big thing about this is that's really interesting is all this stuff came out today saying that, drug testing will now be random drug testing multiple times a year. There's going to be
Why is it random? Why wouldn't they do it before a fight? Why is it random?
Well, it's random for everybody on the card, but championship fights and main event fights will have definite attention paid to them.
Maybe,
I would think you want to do it for every match.
Do it for everybody, yeah.
maybe we should.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we should do drug testing before our show to make sure we're not on any performance enhancing drugs.
Well, you give me 6 weeks, and then we can start that. You give me 6 weeks, and we'll give that a shot.
I don't know what would be a performance enhanced caffeine, right?
Caffeine's a hell of a drug, sir. The other big thing is the fact
Rocket
that
pops.
People are now bringing up the fact that they're now going to have uniforms in the UFC. It's random drug testing as part of the UFC, but yet they're still listed as independent contractors. They don't actually work for the UFC. They're independent. So people are like, well, how do you keep implying rules on us if we don't actually work for you? But I don't know. Anyway, that was the big announcement today from
I think to answer your question, I think in 6 months, everyone's going to totally forget about this whole drug testing, and it'll be back to normal.
Back to normal as in everybody's happy, or back to normal?
Everybody's happy because they're on drugs.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of controversy. They had their press conference. They made some rules. 6 months down the line, no one's going to remember them, and it'll be all back to normal.
You know what? You raise a valid point. This is supposed to come into effect July 1st, which is the same time that the new uniforms come into effect, so that everyone will be happy. I don't know.
Uniforms?
Yeah.
So they
See,
all
right now
they all wear UFC branded trunks because that's the only thing they're allowed to wear, right?
Exactly. Well, they're sponsored by Reebok, so they're all going to have Reebok-based clothing now. But like you guys are there now, you're both wearing Innovative Hybrid Wrestling and Rockstar. I can't see Dave. Maybe Dave's wearing one of those shirts too. But
Sadly, no.
Dave's dressed like a hobo.
Oh, okay.
It's a
In
podcast.
the UFC, everyone
He looks
has
like
their
Ryan
own
Storm.
Ouch. Everybody has their walkout shirts, right? Well, as of July 1st, the only people that can have walkout shirts, or only people that can produce walkout shirts is Reebok. So a lot of people who get sponsorship by wearing logos on shirts are going to be screwed because you can't do that anymore. And if you fight out of the red corner, your shirt is red. If you fight out of the blue corner, your shirt is
Yellow.
Cyan.
Yes, magenta. Yeah, no. So that's the rule coming in.
Well, we all know how.
Wait a minute, Landry. Let me tell you something.
What?
Is this?
First of all, you got his name wrong.
He can say that because he managed you, but I still can't say it.
Yeah, that's
all
right.
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, Daddy-O. Let me ask you something.
He's still not allowed to say that.
Does this apply only to walkout shirts, or does this apply to their shorts as well?
They're tight, or their shorts as well. Yeah.
So we're going to see no more Condom Depot ads on a fighter's ass.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Which is the weird.
End
Which is
of an
the
era.
weirdest place.
End of an era.
Note to
It's the
self: get
weirdest
back in the
place-
ring, wear Condom Depot pants.
On your ass.
Condom Depot logos on your ass is the weirdest place to put that logo.
That's
I'm just saying.
That is wangtastic.
Yep.
And I want to
just
show
gonna pour
my
some water here.
I want to show my MMA
Yeah.
knowledge here. But what's the other besides
sorry, Dave's
UFC?
talking.
Yeah, Dave's talking. What's the other besides UFC? Strikeforce, is that the other
Bellator.
Bellator?
Bellator and
So
Strikeforce. Yeah.
here
Strikeforce still around?
Actually, no. Now that you mention it, it's Bellator is their only major competitor.
competition. So here
Yes.
I'm wondering now if someone gets suspended or whatever for 2 to 4 years, can they not just, since they're independent contractors, jump ship and start fighting for Bellator at that point?
No, because and how they've closed that loophole is they're doing this through the athletic commissions. So you're banned in all athletic commissions for 2 to 4 years.
They can't even bowl.
Well, Chael Sonnen got suspended here roughly a year ago. And Chael went to go fight for he didn't even go to fight. He went to do an amateur grappling contest with someone on pay-per-view. And they said, no, that's competition. You can't do that. He said, no, it's amateur and it's grappling. I'm not fighting. And the athletic commission was ready to take him to court on that. So they're cracking down on it. He ended up doing it, but yeah. So they're closing that loophole by saying it's athletic commissions.
There's talk about him going to the WWE too, isn't there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
if
heard
that-
of him and the other Silva,
Wanderlei.
Wanderlei.
Yeah, Wanderlei. Your research is incredible. You tell me that I can't pronounce the word coach, but so far you've botched 3 or 4 words so far this podcast.
Hey,
So
I didn't boach
yeah.
anything.
That's right. Don't boach things. Yeah, no, Chael's apparently the big thing is they want to get him on the commentary team, which I think would be phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of Chael on the mic, so I would definitely tune in for that. But that's basically all my news from the UFC and their MMA gloves and their uniforms.
Mama gloves.
Mama gloves,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it's a
right.
word.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's Brazilian.
Anyway. Well, that's where the UFC started from, so that makes perfect sense,
Right,
Chris.
that's right, Daddy.
Yeah.
I'm a genius.
Yeah, definitely.
Langell.
Yes, Chris.
You have some interesting things to talk about with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes, I do, because this year, like every other year since 1967, they absolutely suck.
There's a tragically hip song about them.
Yes, there is. There is. Did you want to start singing that, or?
No, it's okay.
Do you know
Okay,
any
just checking.
hip songs?
I used to, but
You used
that band's gone now.
Oh, all right.
His hip went out.
Yeah, the hip replacements are gone.
Oh,
We decided to drop the project, which is a shame.
definitely is.
So Flea Market Underground is going to be the main target of my affection. Anyway, away from me.
Yes.
Maple Leaves.
All right. Yeah. They
You were not
suck.
enunciating your joke properly. He's not catching it.
Did you
I got it. I'm choosing to ignore anything after 3. I just ignore them.
Leaves.
Yeah, Leaves. Toronto Maple Leafs. They, like I said earlier, they haven't won the Stanley Cup since 1967, and they have sucked all through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and
And
now
today.
into this decade. Yes, exactly. Every year seems to be. By the way, I'm a diehard Leafs fan, so I follow the team and I know what's up. And they every year they start off with such hope when they're tied for first before the season starts, and then they do well for a couple weeks, and then hey Dave,
Hello.
and then they completely collapse, and then they don't make the playoffs, but they make this run. Right? They make this run between February and April that puts them just out of the playoff race, but just out of trying to get a draft pick, like a good draft pick. So this is what they do every year. And this year they did it again, and they absolutely suck. And Brendan Shanahan has decided to go to Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and say, we need to start over. And Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment said, yes, we do. And they've given him carte blanche to do what they're referring to as scorched earth. And they're getting rid of everybody.
Now, yeah,
everybody's going.
What few stars they actually have, were they even getting rid of them? Like everybody, like dumping their stars. That is ridiculous. Now, I know Dave is a huge hockey guy.
Oh, just huge.
Also, he's also huge. We call him the Great Cawley.
Okay. I get that.
Sadly, that one has more wrestling talent than I ever had in my left finger. So, my entire body, I should say. Yeah. He had more in his left finger than. Anyway,
it's all right, Dave.
Go on.
Yeah, it's just that's why he doesn't normally has a mic. So yeah, Dave is a huge hockey fan. I think he probably have something to say about this as I get up for a moment.
All right. Now that we're on video, you have to acknowledge that, so that's fine. Yeah, Dave, you're an Arizona fan, right?
Correct.
Yes. So
I feel your pain.
Yes.
But when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leaves, as Chris likes to call them.
Those are some damn sexy pants. I just saw Chris's pants. That's awesome. Anyway, sorry, Dave.
I've always said for years that it's a two-pronged problem. The first problem is the fans. And I'm not talking about fans, diehard fans like you. I'm talking about the fans that actually still show up knowing what the outcome at the end of the season is going to be, still spending $600, $800 for a nosebleed seat and selling out the building. If there's more pressure where there's money involved, the problem would have been rectified years ago. Problem number 2 was putting Brian Burke in charge and the total mismanagement process at that point when it began, and starting and stopping different game plans is really where their problem started. And if Brendan Shanahan's going to step in and finally turn that page and start over again, good luck. But
yeah, it's going to be a while.
But I mean, remember a couple of years ago when they brought Bernier in, and that was going to be the big savior in because goaltending was the problem. But I don't know.
That hasn't done anything.
But no, I mean, I'm not one to throw rocks from a glass house. So.
Well, I think part of the problem with Toronto as well is by the way, Kevin, if you have any opinions on this, feel free to jump in.
Well, the only opinion I have is earlier talking about a draft pick, and I think it's a really good draft pick is Rickards Red.
Yes, that is good. That is good. You should apply for a front office job in Toronto because that would fit in well. I think one of the biggest problems with Toronto is the fact that they keep trading draft picks in order to get veterans who may or may not be in the twilight of their career. They bring big names into Toronto, which don't produce, and they have nothing as a youth movement to move forward on.
Which again goes back to the Brian Burke debacle when he first started. I can't remember how it went, but I remember when he first started, it was going to be a whole new leaf, no pun intended, and they were going to do a whole new youth movement. And then he stopped midway through, and then started bringing in names again. So. So again, I have, as a total non-fan of the team, total faith in Brendan Shanahan for what he's up against. But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. What's going to be interesting about it too is the fact that they said it's going to take 3 to 4 years before they can clear everybody out between contracts and being able to trade. You guys are really going to screw up the mics doing that. Anyway, it's going to be a while. So Toronto is going to become the Edmonton East of Canada.
Well, their contracts and the all their limited trade contracts and their no trade clauses that they've given away so freely.
Yep, they've definitely painted themselves into a corner. So it'll be interesting to look at this episode of the podcast in 2 or 3 years and see where Toronto actually is. But
same place, last.
Yeah, probably. At least they're not Edmonton.
In the turlet. Yeah, see, Edmonton can actually go up.
Did Edmonton go up?
No, but they can.
They could.
In 2 or 3 years.
Edmonton
Yes.
reminds me of taking my kids to swimming lessons and watching them tread water just for multiple years in a row.
Yep. Yeah, what I don't understand between Pittsburgh and Toronto is Pittsburgh sucked for a few years, got a bunch of draft picks, and exploded into a powerhouse. Edmonton actually picked up more first-round draft picks, first overall draft picks, and they're still doing nothing. So they're obviously missing an ingredient in
defense.
that. In that recipe. So anyway, I can see that we're losing Chris and Kevin there. So why don't we move on out of hockey? Yeah. You guys are so cute together. Let's move on here. This is something that Chris texted me about and was thoroughly excited about it last week, and he's waited a whole week to talk about it now. So, Chris, I'm going to give you the floor and let you just go on about this one.
Are you sure you want to do that?
No,
have you just met Chris?
No.
Longest podcast ever.
Yeah, this is now, Chris. You've got 5 minutes or less, but hit us with some Spider-Man.
Langell.
Yes, Chris.
First of all, I have as much time as I need, Daddy, which would probably be 5 minutes or less. Let me tell you something, Daddy. The
Was
Rockstar
that a joke that I should look further into, or anyway, you go ahead. Sorry.
I'm beginning
Chris.
I'm beginning to dislike you, Langell.
Beginning?
Wow. Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, beginning to dislike you again. I was starting to like you a little. Anyway,
Gotcha.
the
Yeah.
Rockstar.
By the way, happy Valentine's Day.
The Rockstar Chris Cole was reading the news
Yes, on your tablet machine.
on my tablet machine. The Rockstar Chris Cole noticed Spider-Man. Sony has finally decided that they're done dropping the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And they are allowing Spider-Man to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For those who do not know what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, that's anything that Disney holds the film rights to for Marvel. So, for example, the current franchise, which is the Avengers films, Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk,
Thor, Captain
America, Falcon, all those
Ant-Man.
characters. Ant-Man. Now,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
yes.
This is Chris's time.
No, that's okay. I don't mind.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Good show. It is. I like it.
Daredevil.
Daredevil. They do own Daredevil now, which is coming up on Netflix soon, right? I don't know when the exact
Yes.
date is, but it's going to be really good, I bet, because they haven't done anything that's not yet. Now, Langell, they don't own what they don't have the rights to is the X-Men. They don't have the rights to Spider-Man, or they do now, but they didn't have the rights to Spider-Man. They didn't have the rights to supporting characters in Spider-Man like Venom and Dr.
Right.
Octopus and characters like that. Man-Thing, for whatever reason, is with Lionsgate. I haven't quite figured that out yet. Now, Sony has decided, with their leaks and all these other things that have caused them to lose money, they're going to allow the Marvel Cinematic Universe to use Spider-Man. Now, upcoming stories that were already planned actually involve Spider-Man, so this is really good for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
The only downside I see is Sony's retaining creative control. So if they decide they don't like the way something's going, they can say, yeah.
So they're going to Bret Hart it.
What's that?
They're going to Bret Hart it. Creative control refused to.
They'll play the creative control game.
Yes, my
Yeah.
joke bombed. You keep going, sir. You have 4 minutes and 27 seconds.
4 minutes and 20 seconds left. That's what I heard. Is that right?
Yeah, keep going.
You're getting all crazy laggy here.
Am
So, well, that's unexpected.
What happened?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Huh.
Do you need a doctor?
No,
We call
why?
an
What-
Oh,
ambulance.
You should ask
No.
him if Cialis is right for you.
I'm fine. What's the problem over there?
You sound like you
You're very
swallowed a computer.
You're very warbly. Langell.
Yes, Chris.
Now, let me tell you something about Spider-Man in the cinematic universe. Now, this could have so many implications. One of the things that they're going to have to explain, if Spider-Man's been around all this time, why didn't he help out when they were being attacked by the Shatari space people and so forth and so on? But this is huge news because really, out of all of the comic book movies being made, Marvel are the only ones who have not dropped the ball yet.
Right.
Like the actual Marvel Studios especially working with Disney, but since they released the first Iron Man, they have yet to really drop the ball.
Agreed.
Even Fox has done an excellent job working with the X-Men, but they dropped the ball on Last Stand and they dropped the ball on Wolverine Origins.
Yes.
Right. They're both not very good. Don't write things on my paper. Ugh, Dave sucks. Now, Sony's dropped the ball on everything. But
I thought those Spider-Man movies were good. What's the complaint about the Spider-Man movies?
Well, the comic book nerds.
And
by the
we
way,
know how much you love those.
Coming up on episode 3 of season 2 of IHW Unstoppable and Bell Community 1, you can see Spider-Man take part in the annual IHW Battle Royal.
That was awesome.
That was
good.
That was hardly noticeable at all. So Langell, back on track here.
Yes.
Most people, when you look at the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, they look at them and they say, "Oh, the first 2 were really good. Third one sucked."
I don't know. I liked it.
You would.
I did.
And then you look at the Andrew Garfield one. I did too. I'm not going to lie to you. I enjoyed it. Now, where I think where the problem lies with, especially with Spider-Man and Sony with their Spider-Man films, and Fox is actually using X-Men really well. In the same aspect, and I'll get to that. With Spider-Man, they're killing off all the villains. He gets a villain once, kills him.
Right.
Well,
now Dave, our co-host from 3-Player Co-op, had talked about that. He said that the only way you make a movie
Taylor,
franchise like that work. Yes, it's my squire. And I actually talked about it with Sandy Carruthers as well, who I mentioned in the last episode. Go back and check that out. He said that the problem is if they keep defeating and killing these enemies, there's nothing to come back on. Right. And you know that, you need an Empire Strikes Back in a comic book movie.
That's
you
right.
Need that.
And you look at if you actually read the comics, it's Spider-Man beats them. Maybe they go to jail, maybe they run away or whatever. And eventually the villains all come back as a group, like Sinister Six or something like that. Now what X-Men does right, thinking about what Fox is doing right with X-Men and how they work with the comics, X-Men can screw anything they want up and just say, well, we're going to go back in time.
Yeah.
And then they just change something. And
yeah, but let me tell you something, Chris Cole. When they are announcing a new Spider-Man movie, what's the first question anyone asks?
Is it another origin?
Okay, no. You guys serious. Who's the villain? People want to see, who are they going to do next? Is it Electro? Is it the Lizard?
Right.
So why would they come back to the same villains when they have 50 years worth of characters to go to play with?
Because there are villains that people want to see, and people do want to see the Sinister Six. For example, as a group of villains. People want to see Kraven. They don't. Do you buy that Spider-Man's going to kill Kraven the Hunter in the first shot? Or Venom, or for that matter, Dr. Octopus, who's been a villain for 50 years, and probably one of the most popular ones, or the Green Goblin.
Yeah, but these movies, they do have a finite. Like there's only gonna make so many movies. Even if the series is wildly successful, there's not going to be a Spider-Man Part 10.
Won't there?
Technically.
They're only going to make so many movies. They only have so much space dedicated to these characters. It's not the comic books where like, well, we're going to be publishing these in 50 years. We can keep bringing them back.
Yeah, but you say again, you look at it. It's if they're killing off the characters, it also gives a different aspect to Spider-Man himself. If he's killing off the villains, well, that makes him a little less innocent. Spider-Man is kind of especially Spider-Man, the innocent, very human character, right?
Did he kill Dr. Octopus?
Yeah, he died in the movie. Yeah,
I don't remember that one.
I'll throw up a spoiler tag on that.
Yeah. Yes. Spoiler alert for those who didn't see this movie in 2003.
Yes, exactly.
And if you didn't, you need to Sam Raimi it up, but watch Army of Darkness instead. Langell.
Yes, Chris.
I'm sick of Spider-Man. Let's talk about Jon Stewart.
All right, let's do that.
I don't have a whole lot to say. He's retiring.
He's
Really?
retiring.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a huge deal. I feel like the late night picture has totally changed now, with Leno gone, replaced by Fallon, and now Letterman's leaving, replaced by Colbert, and now Jon Stewart's leaving. It's a whole new and Arsenio came back and failed. So
Yeah, thank God.
yeah. Come on,
that happened?
I was a huge Arsenio fan.
happened?
I was glad he brought his show back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember watching
So-
Arsenio.
You were a
'cause he
huge
used to have
Arsenio
wrestling.
fan, and then you saw him again. Langell.
Right. Yeah. Yes, Chris.
Now, Jon Stewart, the thing is, they're keeping The Daily Show.
Are they?
He's not the original host of The Daily Show.
I did not know that.
It was Greg Kilborn originally. In the first 2 seasons, Craig Kilborn.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was unaware.
Well, that's because no one watched it when Craig Kilborn was the host.
There you go.
So their plan. The plan is to replace him as a host.
Okay.
Now,
So should you and I submit our resumes?
that would be brilliant. I'm in.
Wouldn't it?
Let's
Who do you
it.
want to see replace him? Who do you think is a good choice?
Chris?
Stephen Colbert.
No, wait. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's busy.
Steve Carell.
Rosie O'Donnell's free now. She
No, see,
left
I don't
The
think
View.
Steve Carell.
Listen.
People say Steve Carell. I don't think Steve Carell is a political commentator.
No.
That's not his role. Best guy to replace him is John Oliver.
John Oliver
Yes.
has his own show.
Yeah, but that's once a week on another
Oh,
channel.
and it's so good.
Exactly.
It is
It's
so good. I love
he
Last
should
Week
come
Tonight.
back and he needs a full-time or more full-time gig.
Well, the
Daily
thing
Show.
is, though, John Oliver's coming back. He's doing full-time on Community. On the new season of Community, which you talked about on last week's podcast with Shano and Mike Russell.
How
How,
is Mike,
how
by the
long
way?
are they
Did-
in
did-
school for?
Well, one of them's a teacher now
Oh, that's convenient.
because he got an education degree. Yes, it's 6 seasons a movie is what they're aiming
Yeah.
for. Right? So
Actually-
to answer your question, they've been in school for almost 6 years. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that show's been on longer, but I guess, okay, 6 years.
But to rewind and to answer your previous question, if you want someone with political knowledge, have a little bit of comedy, and be terrified the entire time you're watching it, Jesse Ventura.
Yes.
Yes, but as we know from Jesse Ventura's own show, it will flop.
I never said it was going to be good. I said it was going to be scary.
No one wants to see Jesse Ventura say anything except, I ain't got time to bleed.
That's true.
True.
That is true.
Well, Angel,
Oh, my God. Yes, Chris.
that's what she said. I finally did it. I'm so
Yeah.
happy. I won't say it anymore. I promise.
All right.
Langell!
All right.
Last
Yes,
time till the
Chris.
next time.
I think, I don't know. Do we have anything else to talk about Jon Stewart? What do you have anything to say about Jon Stewart?
No, I was just going to say, in talking about Community, I watched the show Girls on HBO. And
Yes.
is it Gillian Jacobs or Jillian Jacobs? How do you pronounce her name?
Jillian Jacobs, yeah.
Yes. She is now guest starring on Girls.
Really?
Yes.
Everybody's naked on
And,
that show.
That's what the community was hoping for, but apparently that's not going to happen.
I'm not surprised.
But yeah. Anyway, no, she showed up on this past week's show, and I'm like, hey, I know her. So anyway, yes, that's the end of
Stuck with
that's the
Lena
end of the
Dunham.
Jon Stewart bit. Yes. Moving on, Chris.
Yes.
Let's segue. Let's talk about let's get the guest
Speaking
shit
of
on the show.
TV,
Yes. Holy shit, that's a brilliant segue. That was awesome, sir.
I'm just thinking of you in a Segway. What did I do?
I was on a segue and then
Moving on.
moving on. Langell,
Yes, Chris.
we're going to talk a little bit about producing a wrestling show.
Let's do that.
We're going to ask lots of questions to Mr. Producer Dave, the producer of Innovative Hybrid Wrestling's Unstoppable on Bell Community One Television. You can find that on Bell Community One Television on demand or on Bell Community One Television's website, also on demand. And you can also find online content at ihw.ca and at YouTube/IHW Innovative.
Don't go to YouTube. I haven't fixed it yet.
All right, don't go to YouTube. Just don't go to YouTube because I can't remember the address.
Right.
And we have Mr. Kevin Tyler.
Hello.
Who is our head of matchmaking, also known as the head writer for Innovative Hybrid Wrestling.
Something like that.
Which we will find on demand on Bell Community One Television.
Yes. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I think we already did this part, but nice to be here.
This is now officially your segment, so I'm giving you the warm welcome you thoroughly deserve.
Oh, well, I'm very warm.
You know how it is.
Thank you.
We tend to repeat ourselves. Chris Cole's wife just threw something and it made a loud noise, and now she's giggling and she's trying to hold it in. She's gonna make fart noises soon with her mouth.
Is she any closer to liking me yet?
I don't know. My darling, Mrs. Cole.
Cole.
You say it nice and loud. Are you any closer to liking Langell, even though he gave me that awful nickname in 1999?
I don't know. I've never met him.
Yeah, but based on the fact that all you have is he gave me that nickname.
I never can hear his side of the story whenever you're.
Don't worry. His side of the story is pretty much the same as mine.
What nickname did he give you in 1999?
The one that you know.
You gave him the Gorp?
I gave him the Gorp.
Good old raisins and peanuts.
That's not what it was. He wants to know if you're still mad at him.
How about we should go over for the Jack Frost Fest thing?
Yes, that'd be great.
What in
you should
God's
do that.
name are you people talking about?
Frost.
Jack Frost.
Don't worry about it, Gorpley.
I thought we were plugging our show and not PEI activities.
It doesn't matter. Wait. What's Jack Frost Fest? Fuck.
It's a children's winter fest they have over here. And every year they have no snow, but that's not going to be a fucking problem this year. We've got lots of snow this year.
That's the first time I think your first curse this episode, and we're like,
it probably is.
I don't even know how far we are in because I don't have it on time. I have it on
48 minutes and 13 seconds.
We're fantastic,
aren't we?
Yeah. So this is like a children's thing. So when is it?
I don't know. I didn't know we were going to plug it, so I didn't really research it. But it's it's the last week of February into the first week of March. That weekend.
Last week of February and the first week of March.
Yes,
That's our
like that weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be
You
easier
should.
if I didn't already not get the time off.
We should go with Lynn. We should stay with Langell.
Yeah, we could stay.
Yes, you could do that.
Stay at Langell's house and throw things at him with our.
No, I wouldn't go quite that far.
With our multitude of children.
Yes, I have one.
I have a redhead that headbutts people.
It's all right.
It's like bam, just like his mother.
Speaking of headbutts.
Yes. Let's segue.
I talked about it last week. She didn't hear it, but now she knows.
Yeah.
Not.
Right after I stabbed Mike Russell.
No, you didn't say that to him. Bring up
no.
my headbutt, did you?
No, of course not.
No, not at all.
No.
See, Chris, I want her to like me, so don't do this.
Okay, I'm done. No.
Okay.
All right, back to the show. Peanut Gallery, be quiet. Producing a wrestling show. Langell, do you have questions?
Yes.
It's a shame
Yes, I do.
It's a shame we don't have that Chris Glidden character because he'd be really good for the producing of the audio portion of the show.
Yeah,
And he's
definitely.
And is he ever a card?
That guy's fantastic.
He's an
I
asshole.
wonder what happened to him.
Listen, Rockstar's wife's been drinking.
All right. Wow.
You heard that, right?
Tune into the video version of this show, please. Please tune into the video. Anyway, why don't you start,
Okay.
Chris?
I told Hollywood we're going to bed.
Good night, Mrs. Rockstar.
Langell says goodnight, Mrs. Rockstar. Just say goodnight, Daddy-O.
Good night, Daniel.
This is awesome. Okay, back to Innovative Hybrid Wrestling. Let's talk about the fact that you guys now Oh my God! We brought guests
We
on. and their
can't
entire
follow
segment got
that. Good
scrambled.
night, everybody.
No.
That's it.
Yeah,
Where's your soundboard now?
yeah. I don't have the soundboard for this podcast. I should
I
probably
know.
do that.
Well, God, it'd be. You could use the train wreck sound clip.
Yeah, I use that a lot.
Constantly off the rails.
Yes, exactly. Let's talk about it. You guys are you now have TV on Bell Community One. I've been to shows where it was released for DVD. So, is there a difference between DVD produced shows and television based shows?
I get censored more.
Well, yes.
I can
So
talk
does
about
Jano.
on my end of it, absolutely, because now you instead of just writing one event, like a live event, you now have to find the balance between producing a live event and producing a television show. So you have multiple episodes. You do two shows or three shows at the same time as presenting one show to the live crowd because you still have to keep them engaged as a live audience. So
right.
it's a little more challenging to find that right balance and how to use the guys 2 times, 3 times, whatever you're going to do. So
It's a different mindset, really, when it comes to it. Because if it was like a straight to DVD show, it's literally going from A to B to C to D. And then, like Kevin was saying, having to use talent more than once, or how you're going to use talent more than once, and how you're going to keep the audience engaged between 2 or 3 different episodes, and having the audience only in on part of the joke of a show, not the joke of a show, but part of the show, and then have to actually understand it fully by watching it on TV, but still have them respond the way they're supposed to for TV. It's a totally different mindset and a total headache for Kevin most months.
yeah. I think it'd be a treat for some fans, though, if you go for Moncton, if you go to the live show and you say, "Well, I was there. I saw this event. I know these 2 episodes ago," and then you watch it on Bell with all the stuff backstage. It kind of changes the flavor of the show. You get more information, so you kind of enjoy it in a different light, I guess, if you watch it again on TV.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
And you know, now that we're actually on TV as opposed to just recording maybe for DVD, I used to say to guys, they would say, you know, work for the camera. No, work for the audience that's here. But when you're on TV, you really are. You're working for the camera way more than when you were doing it for DVD, because DVDs aren't necessarily going to sell tickets to the show, while TV might, or TV will. Now, a DVD, the people that bought tickets to the show are the ones who buy in the DVDs. So you want to entertain them more than you want to entertain necessarily the people on the DVD. While TV, you really want to play to that TV crowd while still trying to balance that with playing to the live audience, because the live audience, really, they're your bread and butter. They're the ones. The live audience are the ones who are. If you don't play to them, they're not going to make a sound, which doesn't sound good on TV.
Right.
So you really have to find a balance there.
It's a balance for everybody on our end and then for the wrestlers as well. So it's
to everyone. To everyone's credit, on the Innovative Hybrid Wrestling Show, I think we're doing a fantastic job of doing that thus far. Obviously, there's little things that can be worked on, but that's with anything. But they are really doing a
Nothing.
fantastic
Keep going,
job
Chris.
so far.
And then to kind of keep elaborating on this, back in the, I mean, obviously, like Chris is saying, the live crowd's your bread and butter. You don't want to do anything that's going to alienate them or upset them or not have them feeling or having them feeling gypped at the end of the show and not wanting to come back. But at those points in shows when we were doing just DVD releases or things for online, if something sucked or something didn't go well, we could kind of rewrite and just not show it, and or cut things out totally. Not that we can't do that with TV, but
Like parts of the commentary.
we with television we have more of a structured box that we have to deliver, whether it be time or whether it be time, I guess, really is the big thing. So we don't have that liberty really to say, oh, well, that match never going to see the light of day ever again. It's going to be there one way or another. So
or we have a gap in TV that's Just
Right.
feels awkward.
So, I mean, everyone, and like Chris is saying, it's making everybody, whether it's Kevin, whether it's me afterwards, it's Chris on commentary,
ignore
the guys in the ring, everyone's firing. Instead of firing on 4 cylinders, now everyone's firing on 6 cylinders, and everything just...
Sounds like Mike Russell.
How's Mike doing, by the way? Did he end up okay after the shot from last week?
He's only partially blind in that eye.
He's going to have
Okay.
a patch over his eye
Good.
for the show.
Nice.
Now, I actually wanted to ask a question. You were talking about the challenges. What do you find comes easy when it comes to producing or recording a show? Obviously, for you, the audio part comes easy because someone else does it. But Dave, as far as production, and then Kevin right after, when it comes to writing.
Did you hear that too?
I heard that.
I'm glad because I want to make sure that it wasn't just me.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
All right.
The Rockstar got a text message and then it popped up on his computer. And then we'll go to what do you find comes easy when it comes to writing?
You want to say first?
So we're going to go with what comes easy in terms of producing the television show. Or the live show, for that matter. See? This is why I'm the good one.
The good one in what aspect? My question was like amazing.
I'm supposed to be the cocky one. Get your role right, Langell.
Keep going, guys. You're doing a fantastic job. I'm going to scuttle back.
So,
into
Kevin,
the corner and let
what comes
Chris do the
easy?
show.
I'll tell you what doesn't come easy. Sometimes a commentary and dealing with the commentators, keeping them on track.
That comes
Yeah.
easy?
No.
I'm saying
No.
what comes easy.
What comes easy? What comes easy for me? I think once the matches are made and it's kind of on paper, and I get a few opinions on it. Maybe the head matchmaker. I'm not the only one. There is a couple of us, and they wish to remain anonymous, so they will. But when we get it on paper, what we want to do. The easiest part is then just trusting the guys. If someone's kind of there's no true weak link, but a weaker, not as strong as an overall performer.
Shano.
Well, we
Bless you.
we find a way to just to hide their flaws, accentuate their positives,
Right.
or other guys who are just all around good. Don't worry about them for a second. By the time we get it's on paper and we go to live, just trusting them to do it is the easiest part. Once we agree this looks good, it always turns out good. And I don't think we've had a show where there's any match that has been so bad that it's affected the rest of it. We haven't had a bad match in a long time. So the easiest part for me is putting is trust. Once I like what it looks
Since
on
November
paper.
of 2012.
What show was that? I see what you did there. Trusting the guys and trusting the product's going to be okay is the easiest part.
And not to piggyback off Kevin's answer, but I will. Because honestly, with our roster that we have, I think He stopped listening to me.
That's okay. Just
I'm listening.
All right.
I got it.
I was going to say, with the roster that we have, though, are without question the best talent in the Maritimes. And when they have what is needed of them come show day, they hit it out of the park 9 times out of 10. And if it's not hit out of the park, it's going to be at least, what's the baseball terminology? I don't know baseball. They're at least going to get a double or single or
A triple.
Or a triple.
A triple.
And
Kick in the box.
that's the real nice thing is being able to sit back saying, here's what's needed of you, and it's done. You don't have to micromanage the talent. And if there is issues or people have problems, talent within themselves with more experience step up by themselves and take over that role and put their experience or their thoughts and help out their way as well. So
Yeah, our talent doesn't actually do well with being micromanaged. You get the best out of them, you give them their general direction, and then say, go.
Right.
And I think they do well because wrestling itself is a very creative thing. You need a creative process. So you kind of like leave it open-ended. Like, here's the gist of what we need from you tonight. They're going to fill in the blanks. They're going to do great. The experienced talent we're using right now, they're just some of the best.
Nice.
To jump on that, speaking, they're not micromanaging, trusting them and letting them go with it. even on the commentary end of it with no, seriously, with me and Shano and Mike, they do trust us to produce good commentary, and yet Shano and I often do go off the rails. But we feel, and the end product is, and with no lack of hardship from Dave and his editing prowess, we end up with excellent commentary at the end of the day. We really do, and there are very few people that I think can play off each other quite like Shano and the rock star Chris Cole, where Shano's stupid and I'm not. Now, Dave,
Chris,
I believe you actually brought clips of something that you that we're gonna play at the end of the show. Is that right, Langell?
Yeah, we're gonna
after the credits
play
roll.
us out. Exactly, it's gonna play us out this week.
So to explain a little bit better, if anyone's watching on Bell Community One television, or through ihw.ca and watching episodes,
the parts that are quiet are these ones,
and there's a fantastic match happening, and all of a sudden there's no commentary at all for several seconds or for a few minutes, and sorry, there was one point when Peter Smith inquired, Brody Steele inquired to me why there's these long chunks, and I explained to him that sometimes Shano and Chris Cole are themselves as and
we're trying to rein it in.
And it's sometimes things that I find humorous that a general population may not find so humorous. So it unfortunately gets deleted from the show. The other problem is where we do multiple tapings, there's been times where an inappropriate joke between the two start with one match and continues throughout every taping of that night. So it causes a lot of empty spots. So
and continuity issues if you left it in, right? Because not what we record isn't necessarily going to go in the order that
what
it was
happens
live.
in order exactly. Yeah.
So we could start.
They had jokes for the longest time, and with one taping it was like 2 or 3 show taping, and somehow Chris Cole was Shano's father, and by episode 3 he was being grounded, and
yeah.
But when Peter Smith found out the reasoning behind it, he wanted to hurt you guys, to put it lightly.
Yeah, well.
Speaking of Brody Steele, he'll be at the next set of tapings, and maybe he'll sit in on commentary.
I've heard his commentary. Yeah.
So I have a question. You guys, I've been to a few NHW shows, and I've always enjoyed them there.
On your butt.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that another time. What I was wondering was, does Bell have a certain set of things that you can and can't do, or can and can't say, sort of idea? Like, or how does that process work?
Not allowed to say Bell sucks.
Honestly, if there is something that we can't do or we can't say, we haven't done it yet, because they've never complained about a show.
They've never complained. Well, that's good.
I don't think we ever been given a set of rules.
No.
That said, there's kind of things that we just assumed, and we've gone with, like watching the language.
Yes.
There's no sexual content on the show.
No.
We haven't done blood. I believe Wrestle Center has, and good on them if they got away with it. But I was told that there was they show amateur boxing, and there was a fight, like a stop for blood, and they wouldn't even show it because they didn't want blood on Bell. So using that as a guideline, we made sure it's a bloodless show.
But not
right.
Besides Bell, I mean that's also coming back to our own personal branding too, and keeping it family friendly to have a broader audience as well. So,
audience full of broads. I got you, guys. We actually on the upcoming show, to get off of the production questions, unless Angel has more.
No, I'm
Okay,
good.
Even if you did, I was still gonna stop you.
Yeah.
We have a lot coming up on March 28th. at the Moncton Lions Club at 55 Mark Avenue, right here in Moncton, New Brunswick. 7 o'clock bell time. Tickets are $12 for adults, $10 for kids in advance, and $15 at the door.
That's correct.
Yes.
You weren't sure, were you?
We
The segues here are like
smooth,
so smooth.
as butter with sand in it.
Would you like to plug where they can get those advance tickets?
I am about to do
thank
that. If you would hold your arse. Right, you fucker. So
If you insult the guests, they won't come back.
yes,
Chris. We talked
they
about
will.
this last week.
Everybody,
No, they won't.
Everybody loves the rock star daddy. Just ask Kevin.
He just bribed us with beer, so
The
that's why
only
we showed
person
up for.
The only person I don't insult. Well, until we have some of these people on. As we have said previously, last week's episode we had Shano and Mike Russell from the commentary team. This week from production we have producer Dave Cawley and Mr. Kevin Tyler.
Yes.
We are going to have many, many other megastars culminating, and right now we have the big challenge out. Our final interview the week of the show. Only 2 days before the show, we're going to put this up onto the iTunes. Mr. Suave Marcus Burke and the big picture Chris Cook. Chris Cook has officially challenged, although has not received a response yet, has challenged Mr. Suave. Loser leaves IHW or loser leaves town, according to the video. Or loser retires is the best way to put it, I think. From wrestling. Suave has yet to respond to that, and we're going to have a face-to-face interview with them, which is going to be fantastic, because Mr. Cook's going to be right there. I'm pointing at the wrong camera. Right there in Charlottetown, Prince Eduardo Island.
Right.
And Mr. Suave Marcus Burke will be right here, flexing his vegan chops in Chateau de la Rockstar.
I'm looking forward to that episode.
I also am looking forward to that. That'll be episode 10.
Yes.
Yeah. We're episode 5 right now.
Yes, we are.
That's fantastic. Now, Langell.
Yes, Chris.
That's right. We're going to have many, many people on. Is it next week we have somebody?
You tell me.
I sent it to you. You're supposed to be setting this up.
Remy Petit.
Remy Petit is coming up. Remy Poutine. He is coming up. We're going to have him, and I believe he's actually going to plug one of his own shows that he has on the YouTube. And,
Interesting.
We're going to have Julian Young's going to be on the show. We're going to have Titus on the show. We're going to have... I don't know if we're going to have him. I don't want to say it. I've been saying he's to be determined until you tell me differently.
You tell me later, because I don't know who.
All right. He's really big.
Oh, you can ask him.
Oh, good. Apparently, I have to ask him. All
right.
So we're going to have all these megastars on the show for the next. For the next 5 weeks. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and we'll be building up to the Innovative Hybrid Wrestling show. Are there any other matches we have announced? I know Titus will be in action. Julian Young will be in action. Brody Steele returning from injury. That's a huge return.
That's a big one.
In more ways than one, because he is a monster of a man.
And it's actually his first match in Moncton proper, and I think he said almost 10 years. Because wrestling hasn't been in Moncton in a long time.
Wrestling reality,
yeah. That'd be the first time. So that's a big one for him, too, to be
that
actually.
That long ago?
Yeah. Wow. I think it was 2006,
Wow.
so 9 years ago.
2006, so 9 years ago.
How many years ago?
9 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get that joke. That's awesome.
Good for you.
All right. Oh, yeah. See, I pay attention. I watch the shows.
If you're looking for other matches announced, you know me, I don't like to announce too much ahead of time. But I will say that the tournament for the IHW TV title, and hopefully we'll have a belt by then, but we'll see. The final's not for a little while yet, but it's going to begin. And we're going to begin some qualifiers are going to happen. On the 28th, we have a few to kick things off. So, new champion.
That's excellent. And the biggest news for the Unstoppable taping on March 28th at the Moncton Lions Club, 55 Mark Avenue in Moncton, 7 o'clock bell time, is none other than your Canadian Idol will be in attendance. Sans mask. Mothers, lock up your daughters because this man is handsome.
So earlier when we were talking about parts of the show that we can't delete off anymore and have to stick with on television, unfortunately,
Yes.
the Canadian Idol will be there without a mask on.
Your Canadian Idol.
Is he still my idol? I don't know. Without that mask.
He'll always be your idol, Daddy.
Well.
Let me tell you something. The rock star has big plans for your Canadian Idol, and it's just going up from here. He's got the mask off. He has more peripheral vision now.
He is happy to be maskless, as I understand.
So that was the problem all these years was he lost sight of
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Moving on.
Is that why he puked on me?
Is that why he kept crouching himself on the top rope every time he got in the ring?
Moving on. Langell,
Yes, Chris.
you had some NXT stuff you wanted to talk about.
I do. I watched the NXT Takeover. I don't know if you can still call them pay-per-views or not, but the special on the WWE Network last week, the championship match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And I was a huge fan. Well, I'm a huge fan of Kevin Steen / Kevin Owens. So I was definitely tuning in for that. But
It's an awful name, by the way.
what, Kevin Owens?
Yes, terrible.
Why?
It's like you might as well call him Eddie Ederson. It's such a generic name.
But the initials make KO.
Yes,
Ha, ha, ha.
they do.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
If you had the soundboard, I wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, well, maybe next week I'll bring that in. The big thing. Did you guys see the match by any chance?
I'm not really a wrestling fan.
Totally understand. Totally understand.
No, I mean,
I'm not really into podcasting.
I unfortunately and shockingly don't watch that much wrestling outside of the Maritimes. And I kind of feel guilty about that, as I should really be keeping up on the industry. I follow the news on it, but yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of TV wrestling.
Gotcha. Well, the big thing about this is, and it's interesting to have you on as the head matchmaker. Most times in professional wrestling, there's an expected ending where, you know, there's a finisher and there's a 3 count, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas in the world of MMA, matches can end out of anywhere. Well, what they did with this match was, and I mean, I've seen it done before over the years, but it's very rare that you see it. They had the referee stop the match due to, you know, to protect Sami Zayn. So instead of having a finish and a 3 count, the referee jumped in and stopped it a la an MMA fight. And I thought that was an interesting way
Because Kevin Steen was killing someone?
Yes, Kevin Steen was killing someone. I know. Surprise.
You gotta ask Marcus Burke about that one. I want to know what he thinks of Kevin Steen killing someone is.
No,
They're big fans of each other.
They are not. They are not fans of each other.
Hold on, production. I suddenly have no audio from you guys, so I can't hear the lines. I can't hear the jokes.
So this guy you do the podcast with, what's his deal, man? Like, what's going on?
See, it's funny. The audio comes back just when that line comes through.
What's the deal,
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting the fact that they chose that as the way to end it, as opposed to.
I'll have to ask Mr. Swaff about it when we have him on, because he is not. They have real heat.
Yeah.
Legitimate
Really?
shoot heat,
Yeah, there is.
from when Mr. Suave Marcus Burke was wrestling in Quebec.
Yes.
Now, when you say this, now I haven't seen the build-up. I haven't seen the match. I haven't even seen Kevin Owens wrestling NXT. Based on what I know of him and the idea of it, sounds like interesting finish, wrong guy. But maybe, hey, that was years ago. Who knows? Maybe he's hit a gym or two in this time. He must have. They WWE has certain standards in their wrestlers. So.
Oh, they're booking him as Kevin Steen, looking like he is.
Okay.
What's with the My Little Pony ring?
It's not My Little Pony. It's Teen Titans.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Anyway, no, I thought that was an interesting finish to see. Not to plug our own podcast there. I thought that it was an interesting way to end that with referee stoppage, because you see that in MMA a lot, but you don't really see it a lot.
Did the fans buy it?
They did.
They did. Okay.
They did. Yeah.
That's one thing, and we've talked about different things like that before in wrestling, but bring in elements of MMA because MMA is hot right now.
Right.
Are wrestling fans, though, are they going to get it? Are they going to buy it? Are they going to accept it? Or is it just kind of like, You know?
They really went out of their way to express what was happening because 2 trainers came down and they were checking on Zayn and he kept saying, I'm going to go. And they're like, no, you need to stop it. And they tell the ref, you need to stop it. And Zayn was like, no, I can keep going. And then Owens proceeded to powerbomb him 3 or 4 more times. And then finally the ref just said, that's enough. We're done.
Okay. So it wasn't such a sudden stoppage. There was a build to it then. Okay.
No,
well, yeah,
no.
maybe it worked out well.
I mean, so they kind of telegraphed where it was going. But it was great to see as opposed to, a 1, 2, 3 and like it's something different, right?
And to be fair, too, NXT fans are more of a smarter fan than a casual WWE fan.
For those listening on our podcast that has no video, Dave put smarter in quotes.
And before it's cut off, I was
Yes,
going to
he
say NXT, it was about a couple hundred people in the studio for their shows. Is that how it's all done? Because I don't really watch it, but
It's from what I've seen.
versus 17,000 people that you have to get the same message through to. So,
right.
To be fair, it's almost like apples and oranges to try to.
I think it's more like apples and kittens. They are totally different.
I can't even follow that, Chris. So why don't we get into the finish then?
Streets ahead.
Yes.
Langell!
Oh my God. Yes, Chris.
Langell! There's only one thing that could be the finish this week. It has to be. It has to be Seth Rollins' cock.
Yeah. I wasn't going to put it quite that bluntly, but yes, as I said in the opening, Seth Rollins last Monday had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day.
How do you?
Yeah.
How
did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, apparently, Monday Night Raw went on the air.
Are you both aware of this?
Monday.
Yes.
Okay, they're both aware of this.
Okay.
This is good.
Okay.
See,
good.
I don't watch the wrestling, but I follow the business. So I get
Yes.
Follow the penis.
the business.
Yes.
Bountiful penis. Amen.
I love having to explain to Apple why we're explicit 4 weeks in a row. Anyway,
Explain these things?
Well, we have to tag it, right? Because I put our podcast down as not being explicit, and then I have to have explicit episodes inside of it. So I always have to explain.
Way to go, Langell.
Yeah, I should have thought about that. Anyway, apparently, while Raw was on the air, A, we were recording What's the Finish, and B, Seth Rollins' social media accounts, including his Twitter and Facebook account, released nude photos of a nude photo of a WWE NXT diva, which hit the internet like a bomb.
Boom.
And then apparently Seth Rollins' fiance didn't like this. What? So I know. So she went on her Twitter account, like her own personal Twitter account, and released nude photos of Seth Rollins. And so now everybody's got to see everybody, and it went all over the internet. And the funniest thing was the way that WWE has their social media set up. Anything that superstars share immediately gets tagged to their Facebook page and their WWE profile page. So these photos then went to the WWE website, and it was a free for all for everybody.
And they were up for a while.
They were up for, I'd say, a good 5-10 minutes, which in the internet world is forever. And Seth's fiance, I should mention Seth's former fiance, because she's now listed as single, deleted the photos and deleted the tweets. It was a social media nightmare last Monday in the WWE. Now, originally, people thought that Seth got hacked. And then they thought that his fiance got hacked. So his fiance came out and she said, "Oh no, I didn't get hacked. I did that on purpose." So the rebuttal was definitely intentional. People are wondering now whether or not Seth got hacked to release the original photo, or did he release it by accident? What's happened there? Nobody really knows as of yet. Now, there was a lot of stuff floating around the internet, whether Seth would be punished or he'd be fined or he'd be this or he'd be that. And there's contradicting information on that, and I don't think that it's going to be made public as to exactly what's going to happen. But I watched Raw this week, and Seth didn't really have as much to say or to do this week as he did the week before, and I don't know about that, but. Yeah.
Coincidence.
So, yeah, for sure.
WWE doesn't have a history of handling people's relationship problems well. Remember when
Handling people's what?
relationship problems? Remember when Matt Hardy got fired because his girlfriend cheated on him?
Yes. Yes, I do remember. Actually,
Yeah.
that was a fantastic rivalry episode in the WWE Network. They went back and covered that whole thing.
I don't know how they're going to handle Seth Rollins' Wang.
I don't think they're too concerned with Seth Rollins' penis there, Chris. They're not as obsessed as you are on this. What they plan on doing is just sweeping it under the rug and moving forward. But the big problem is how do you punish a guy?
Wait. Sweeping the penis under the rug?
It's that big, Chris.
Into the rug.
So actually, in fact, it's not. That's what a lot of people were talking about. Was
his unimpressive penis.
Yeah,
I said that
it wasn't. It wasn't what people expected.
I was happy with the blurry version. You guys, I guess, went for the.
You know who's really mad about this?
What I've read. I should clarify that.
I accidentally I searched it because I had to read about it.
Yes, for the show. And I searched it at work, and it wasn't the censored version.
Do you know who's really mad about this all, though, eh?
Who's that?
Vince McMahon.
What?
Because he couldn't, he would have preferred to make this whole storyline and made it go into Playgirl to get some extra bucks.
Yep.
Now Chris Cole's looking at some Willy Wonkas at work.
Yeah.
For free.
Yes. So the big thing is, though, if he wasn't the Money in the Bank guy right at the moment, I mean, I can see him basically evaporating off television, but since he's been so prominent for the last 6-8 months, you can't just take him off TV for this. So I don't know what they're going to do. And then how do you put the world title on a guy that has this following him? So I don't know what's going to happen with Seth Rollins.
What are the implications of this happening at this point in his career? Now, I mean, the WWE and Vince McMahon are famous or notorious, depending how you want to look at it, of being able to bury guys they have made huge stars out of.
Dolph Ziggler, repeatedly.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not. That's how I see it. But.
Yeah, well, no, I'm totally in agreement. Maybe not. I mean, like taking a guy who's a huge star, who they've made a huge star, and just now he's nobody. And my example would be Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy,
is he a huge star?
They had him almost in the main, they had him main eventing shows, and then all of a sudden he was nowhere. Jeff Hardy in the same aspect. They had him main eventing shows, and then all of a sudden he's having all these drug problems. Let's get him out of here because he's a bad example, a bad picture for what we want.
Yeah, but that one,
right?
I can get that.
I'm not saying like that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong either way. I'm saying they're just able to do this, no matter how big the star is. I mean, it's not like.
But in this case, we've already discussed it's not a very big star.
I see what he did there. That's awesome.
I mean, it's not like Seth Rollins is big right now, but it's not like he's not John Cena. He's not Steve Austin. He's not Bret Hart. He's not, Hulk Hogan. He can still be buried in there, and you never see him again.
And it'll never hurt the product. There's nobody right now that's bigger than the product. Maybe a John Cena, but yeah.
But
if
John
they want to
Cena's
choose
all about the product.
if they choose to bury him and get rid of him, it's not going to hurt the WB in one little bit.
But see, what annoys me though is he didn't go on live television and pull his pants down to expose himself. It was a lover.
Yeah, he's not Dave.
It was a lover squabble that unfortunately became public.
He didn't pull a Sandman.
But it was a lover's squabble that unfortunately became public.
Yes.
Whose fault that is, who cares? It happened a week ago. Let's move on. And I'm pretty sure that's how the company's looking at it as well.
Yeah, and I agree with that, except for the part, like I said, like he's been front and center every Monday and every, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, whenever you do see SmackDown. He's been the guy. And this week it was like he wasn't even there. Like, I mean, he was there, but he had a match against Dolph Ziggler, but it wasn't like he was in the forefront this week.
And his clothing was a lot looser.
yeah, that's true too.
Well, they probably give it some breathing room. They gotta pull back on them just at least till people forget about it. This is the internet; they'll find something else
to pick
in
about
5 minutes to go crazy.
Yeah,
about
and I've always had
Chris Cole doing jazz hands.
I've always had a 2-week rule, which means if something happens on pro wrestling TV 1 week, give it 2 weeks. And if you're still upset at that point, then you can complain.
The Union.
The Union? What? Who?
The Union gimmick. It lasted 2 weeks.
You're upset by that?
Yeah, well, it was stupid. No,
It sounded like a good test, though.
This is a test.
All right.
Righty.
I've lost my audio again, so I'm going to jump in here for a second and just say, take it, Chris.
Oh, good. I don't know if you can hear me or not,
No, I can now.
but I think that's it. That's our finish.
That is our finish.
So
And what a finish it was.
What a finish! Langell, Kevin, Dave. I think all of us want to remind everybody to stay tuned after the we'll call it the credits. After the music, we're gonna have some outtakes for you.
I'm sorry.
Click now. Close the window. You're done.
They're listening
Trust
in
me.
audio only today. The video version only goes up on Saturday. But you will hear the outtakes from Rockstar Chris Cole and Shano from previous IHW shows. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rockstar Chris Cole talking for Brian Langell, who for some reason is always eating cheese, and I don't know why. With our guests this week, we have Mr. Kevin Tyler. We have Mr. Producer Dave Cawley. Ladies and gentlemen, check us out next Thursday on What's the Finish, Daddy?
Never a pleasure to be here, as always.
You're smelly.
Yeah, well, that's just your breath rolling back in your face.
No, it's not. It's your VO.
It could be.
Oh,
Could be. It's called Air to Rockstar.
your BO, your body odor is called Air to Rockstar.
Yeah, I'm going to bottle it. Slap your face on it, won't sell, because everybody will be like, it looks like the Gerber baby committed suicide.
You hurt my feelings. I kind of like that I can hear you.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
But you know, I don't like it. I can hear you at all. You stupid Shano. You know what's frustrating? You suck.
You know what else doesn't happen? People liking you.
Touche. Whoa!
Nice Greco-Roman style slam there by Julian Young, slapping the back.
It was a waistlock takeover. You're really bad at this.
You're bad at making love to your wife.
That's not true.
That's what she told me.
Maybe a little. Just kind of hammered in there.
Dave, I'm sorry.
Pump, pass. Yeah, you want to cut that out. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, I think, and I'm going to say it, it's cliche. We're at a capacity crowd right here in the Coverdale Rec Center and blah, blah, blah. Shano, come on.
What a way to start off the night with a championship match with Titus and Julian Young.
I love that Dave can't hear us. We can't hear Dave, but he can hear us. Sucker.
This has been a TPC Network podcast, available at tpcnetwork.com.